Hello, we have started our Periscope only an hour late. Just got into Self-Care Sunday, and we are just getting organized with all of the errands today. So I apologize for being an hour late, but doesn't really matter because this is going to be a fun scope. This is going to be a fun Periscope for you guys. And who cares anyway? It's Sunday. And hey, Leslie, let's do this. What's up? Hey, Guy, what's going down? How you doing, my friend? As people pile in and you guys tap the screen to give some love. If anything is said that resonates with you today. Is that Cole Harbor? No, it is not. It is Yale Town here in beautiful Vancouver. It stopped raining for a little bit. We'll see how long that lasts. Let me know where you are listening in from. Florida, Guadalupe, welcome, welcome. Guy, thank you for inviting people. If you can just tap that Perry Buddy, slide it over and start inviting your peeps. If they want to learn a little bit more about high-risk behaviors, Virginia, Michigan, North Van, Barb and Victoria, what's up from Montreal? Hey, what's up, Relationship Doctor? Ooh, this will be interesting. We're going to be doing a Valentine's special on the stress of love, infatuation, and unmet expectations on Valentine's Day. We're going to be doing a really cool scope on that. Toronto Ballers, what's up? Hello, everybody who is part of Melissa Ramos's group. Sexy Lady Ballers, all of you gals, what's going down? That eye, though, what's up, what's up? So, now that you're filing in, this Periscope, Sexy Lady Balls, yes, it's nice to be a part of the group. So, now I just wanted to talk about this because I've been working with some people doing my overview consults. I'm a chiropractor. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a chiropractor for the past 15 years who's moving on to teach and, a constant student. A speeding ticket today, got kicked out of a grocery store by security. Yes, high-risk behavior. We're going to talk about speeding tickets as well. I know them very well. After doing several of years helping people with stress-related disorders, stress-related disorders, I've realized that the main problem that people are coming to see me for neck pain, back pain, all of that stuff. Here, let me just block people who are kind of being a little bit over the top with the comments. It's kind of difficult for those of you who haven't done a Periscope before to keep following a line of thought with all these questions and stuff. It is really really interesting, and so I'll try to keep it as on to the topic as possible. So seeing all of these people, Relationship Doctor, really, you're quite a chatty one, aren't you? you don't stop with the chatting, Miss Relationship Doctor. Okay, so here we are. So after doing several overview consults with people who've been struggling with high-risk behaviors like overeating, speeding tickets, as Leslie said. I know that very well. That's my go-to move as well, is when I'm kind of not in that space. I find myself attracting a lot of speeding tickets, and so that's one of them. Tap that screen if you know somebody or experience doing high-risk behaviors like cutting, doing high-risk behaviors like drinking too much, promiscuous sex without protection. These types of things are very common amongst people, and so people contact me a lot to try to help them with those issues. And then my job is to let them know that that's not really the place to focus on. Is try to stop those behaviors, is to understand where those behaviors come from. So, interesting thing happens. How do you manage exam stress? We're going to talk about that in just a second. First and foremost, stress is a perception outside of yourself or inside yourself that is a projection of reality, is that what's happening sucks and it should be something else. And stress comes from your inability to adapt to what's happening in front of you. So you like my beard. Great. I'm glad you like it. So basically stress comes from an inability to adapt to what's happening in front of you. And when you have an inability to adapt to that, you start to internalize things. You basically extreme amount of high blood pressure, your cortisol and your adrenaline fires, and then you can't really manage. You start to develop these anxiety symptoms, and you start to develop, increase of blood pressure, blood sugars go wonky, your digestive symptoms go off, your hormonal imbalance, that kind of thing. So that happens, your body then starts to move in a direction of illness and disease. And I knew that very well working as a chiropractor for people with mainly for stress-related disorders. And so what I've come up with is a method that actually takes whatever's happening in front of you and gets you to ask a series of questions and changes the way, yes, stress can weaken the immune system. What happens is it transforms the way that you look at things. And what if stress is only in our minds and simply our thoughts? Yes, absolutely. That's exactly where it happens. It's a thought that you project onto a reality. And the overview method is something that I've come up with, which is an amalgamation from all the tools that I've learned that gets you to take whatever's in the way and transform it into what's on the way. So that's the difference. It's a distinction. If something is in front of you and you think that it's in your way, you will perceive it to be stressful. Your body will go through a bunch of changes that are trying to get you ready for preparation for an attack. So your digestion shuts down, stress can cause migraines, your blood pressure goes up. It's very true. Stress is definitely an illusion. It's a projection of reality that you wish it was something else. Now here's the interesting part. Stress, what happens is you see something in front of you. Stress causes putting on weight. Yeah, that's the question. How do you get rid of it? The process that I've come up with is called the overview method. Helps you take a look at whatever's stressing you and then transform it. So what do you think that creates that thing which is in our way? It's all about perception. And so if you perceive that something is in your way, then you have distress. If you perceive that it's on the way, then you don't have distress. It's called eustress. So that's a positive type of stress. So I've come up with a tool that gets you to change that perception of whatever's in your way, and it now is on the way. And an interesting thing happens. You can't have stress without a perception of something in your way that it should be something else. So what ends up happening is it's a trigger for something that's happened from your past that's caused you to feel a certain way. So if you then speak about what you feel, that makes your stress go. That could be one tool. If you have a belief that something should be different, like I should weigh less, I should be making more money, I should be better looking, whatever that projection you have on reality that's different than it actually is, that is a distress. And when you have that, it causes you to interpret the environment for a few different things. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. I'm not lovable. I am not enough. And so after helping thousands of people under stress, I've discovered that whenever something is happening that you find stressful, if you dig, the result basically, I don't have a book just yet, the result basically happens that you have a belief that I am not enough. So think about your money problems, think about your relationship issues. Events are happening which is causing you to believe that you are not enough. So this belief that I'm not enough goes back to your earlier days when you were a child, where you experience abandonment, betrayal, you name it. Could have been bullying in your teenage years, could have been abuse from, a parent, a family member. Anything that you perceive is in the way, I'm getting to it, what the solution is, we're getting to it. Anything you perceive to be in the way, what ends up happening is you then interpret that I'm not good enough, and then it's a trigger for something in your past. So the secret to the solution is to go back to those early triggers. You go back to these early triggers and you discover that the beliefs you have about those events that pit you that you're not enough are actually false. So if you go back to certain, for example, I had a session with a client whose parents got a divorce, and this is a classic case. Parents get a divorce, and the kid is 7 years old. The scene looks like this. Dad comes in and says, son, your mom and I are getting a divorce. What ends up happening is that 7-year-old turns around and then blames themselves. It actually becomes a story they make about themselves that, oh, this is happening because I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. And now this belief that I'm not enough shows up, causing us to behave in weird ways. This is the birth of what I call the dark passenger. The dark passenger is kind of like if you've ever seen Dexter. When you watch Dexter witnessed as a 2 or 3-year-old his mother being killed. So then all of a sudden he had this dark passenger, this inclination to kill. And so what they did in the story was that his adopted father learned how to harness that kind of dark passenger, and then he ended up using it for good. So he ends up becoming a police officer, working for the forensics, solving murders and implanting evidence, and then instead of catching the murderer for the police station, he goes in and catches the murderer himself and then kills him. So Dexter used his dark passenger, which is to kill, for a good purpose. And that's what the whole TV series is about, is him working with his dark passenger, this thing to kill. Now, we all have it. And the cool part about doing the overview experience, which is a workshop that I teach, is that everybody in the group, there's 15 to 20 of us, we all discover where we find our dark passenger. How do you work with your dark passenger? Good question. We're going to do that. So this dark passenger shows up with the belief that I'm not good enough, and the dark passenger displays behaviors in our lives for certain reasons. Okay, so what ends up happening is high-risk behavior, addictions, cutting yourself. One of my clients, she would, when she was in that state of I'm not good enough, she would walk into traffic with her eyes closed. And so these crazy high-risk behaviors, you have to mute about the dark passenger. Your kids get all freaked out. Sorry about that. So basically what ends up happening is you have a dark passenger that has twofold job. It's basically saying every single time that you compare yourself to others and believe, which triggers the belief that I'm not enough, or something happens where you level up in your life and you kind of jump to the next level of, your career, jump to the next level of a program that's going to help you get healthier, this little dark passenger whispers to you that says, you're not good enough. Remember, you're not good enough. You're not enough. And then that's when these high-risk behaviors start to happen. So promiscuous sex, gambling, anything that sabotages you, your life, everything, a relationship that you know that shouldn't be happening, doesn't serve your highest values, we run to those things because, when we compare ourselves to others, this little dark passenger does two things. It either says, it's basically saying, I'm here to kill you. In other words, if you're not living your life congruently with your values, what ends up happening is you're constantly seeking approval from the outside, and the dark passenger is trying to kill you because it's not living your life. It's almost, what I've discovered is that it's like the earth is now coming in and saying, listen, either you're going to help serve the planet in some way and carry forward an advancing civilization, or in an authentic way, or I'm going to kill you. So when we step outside of that, the dark passenger shows up, and when you're completely out of your authentic self, comparing yourself to others, and not scaring yourself and not challenging yourself to grow, the dark passenger is trying to kill you. These high-risk behaviors that we all do are a byproduct, are a barometer that you're actually not living a life that's congruent to you. Is that why illnesses manifest? Abso-freaking-lutely. That's another way of doing it. It's basically like the earth. I want you to step back and look down at the earth from an overview perspective and realize the earth is doing its darndest to keep you authentic. Every time you step out of your authentic truth, you're lying to yourself, you're living a life that's not congruent with you, you start to feel this anxiety. Where is the logic or evidence? Okay, the evidence is where I've been working with hundreds of people who basically are trying to transform their behaviors and realize that these behaviors, after doing work one-on-one over and over again, these behaviors come from stressful events that pit us into the belief that we're not good enough. And those are triggers from previous events that, from our experiences that cause us to implant that belief that we're not good enough. And whenever we are living according to our highest values, those thoughts, those tendencies, those behaviors have a tendency to fall completely, and you are now living congruently and serving from that place. When you step out of that, good question, is the dark passenger permanent? Can we get rid of it? Now, the secret is that dark passenger, which I call, it's just a name that I come up with, I coined after Dexter. The dark passenger is that part of us that feels unworthy, and it acts out in those ways when we're incongruent. The key is, Dexter said, the only way to kill the dark passenger is to take out the driver. In other words, you always will have it. You will never, ever get rid of it, but because here's why. That same energy that's trying to kill us also is what's responsible for you wanting to up your level, is wanting for you to exercise and eat right and do good things for humanity, to find your purpose and create that and manifest a life of service and serving others. Your dark passenger falls asleep in the back the second that you tell the truth. And you stop lying to yourself, and you actually live a life using him or her to serve others. So when I fall out of serving others, when I fall out of reaching out and helping somebody transform, exactly, it's about using the dark passenger the right way. When I step out of that, I start to participate in high-risk behaviors myself. Last year, I got some crazy speeding tickets 2 years ago, and on my birthday, when I went to renew my driver's license, they said, unfortunately, we have to suspend your license for 5 months. And so normally the old me, before I was doing these overviews, I would have completely gone through a stress response, going, my gosh, I have a 45-minute drive to work each day. And it was pretty crazy. This 45-minute drive is going to cost me $100 each way to drive to work. And it was so frustrating, and then I realized that at that moment, I sat down and I did an overview exercise, which basically forces you to ask some questions about the inadequacy feelings and the unworthiness, and to find out where they come from and to transform it. What ends up happening is I do the exercise, and a creative impulse comes in and says, okay, Nima, it's your turn to actually get up and now travel the world and to do these talks and to do the overview experience all over the world to help people transform and heal, actually. And so what I did, and this is how you tame the dark passenger, is by embracing that part of you that created all of those things, and then directing it to somewhere that helps you serve and scare yourself and take that next step into your career, take that class. How do you tame the dark passenger? What made you become a teacher? If I may ask, I'm going to answer that in a second. What you do is you take that fear or that feeling of inadequacy and you level up. You take that class that you've been afraid to take. You go do the workout. You go back to school. You upgrade your level and do something that scares you, that is involving in the betterment of yourself and the world, and that's when the dark passenger falls asleep at the back. In other words, you got to use him to level up rather than be afraid of him. When he's showing up, he's trying to let you to live your life congruently for you. What made me become a teacher was helping people with stress-related disorders as a chiropractor for the past 15 years. I knew that they were telling me stories of stress and their stories of suffering, and I discovered that whenever you have a story of suffering, no matter what adjustments that I do, you go back to those beliefs of unworthiness, you're not going to get to the root cause. And I was just dealing with the structural problems. So, if you missed it, catch the replay on catch.me/drnima. Take an overview workshop, scary? Yup, help me meet my dark passenger. Exactly, Leslie. So, Leslie, you were in a situation where your dark passenger was behaving in certain ways. Sometimes it comes out in anxiety. Sometimes the dark passenger comes out with suicidal thoughts and says, kill yourself, it's time, end it, it's not worth it. That's the dark passenger whispering to you, trying to kill you, basically, or level up and serve humanity. Basically, it's saying, it's kind of like this earth has a mechanism of moving forward this advancing civilization that every inhabitant on the planet, basically, either you live your purpose and serve others and live your life, or we're going to kill you. That is powerful. Not facing ourselves, loving ourselves, 1,000%. If you're comparing your reality to someone else, or you're living a life that's not congruently you, there's a part in your psyche that knows that that's not you, so we exhibit behaviors that are high risk, that tries to kill us. I mean, suicidal thoughts, gambling all your life away, promiscuous behavior, drugs, because we're seeking that instant gratification because we don't feel worthy. We are not living our lives according to who we are, and we're not serving others. And this earth has this facing ourselves and getting in our own way. Well, we are constantly getting in our own way with the beliefs that we're not good enough, but it's important to face that. And so that's why I created the overview method. Bread, yes, D, exactly. Emotional eating is another form. It's these suicidal lifestyle choices that we're making. Hey, what's up? Is that Megan? Oh, My Living Cafe. What's going on? So are there any questions about this? Let me recap it for a second. The dark passenger is the part of you that shows up and whispers that you're not good enough based on things that are happening to you, which come from triggers in your past about unresolved stories of abandonment, abuse, neglect, all of these I'm not good enough stories that come from your childhood, your teenage years, when your boyfriend or your girlfriend dumped you, the abuse, all of that. It lays dormant in our psyche, unresolved, that pits us into this position of not being good enough. And then whenever we run into triggered events that are if you work out your dark passenger, could your illness go away? Absolutely you can. Illness, it depends on the illness. We have to be very specific. So if you wanted to do a consult, reach out to me on Facebook and see if the overview method is right for you. It's really a tool that every time the dark passenger shows up in weird, behaviors, I basically show you how to watch for these triggers of the dark passenger that comes up in suicidal thoughts, comes up in high-risk behaviors, comes up in your desire to go out and drink and piss yourself. What do you think leads to mental illness? Basically, trauma, essentially. There's a lot of evidence that's showing that anytime you've gone through what you perceive as traumatic events and you don't learn how to clear them, that resentment towards it, you build up this emotional charge that eventually will lead to a mental illness. And so to assume that your thoughts and your beliefs and your skills don't have an ability to transform that is absolutely wrong. And I have a song that's called Pills Don't Teach Skills that basically shows that in order to heal from these illnesses, pills are the last resort. Does dark passenger draw negative spirits towards you? That's a good question. How do we heal? Hi from Venezuela. How do you heal? Essentially, I created the overview method so that you can heal, and it's by looking at those traumatic events from a different perspective and asking a new set of questions about this. The questions you're going to ask is, what that thing that happened to me that made me feel inadequate, where was my superiority at the time? Where was I thinking that I was greater than? How did that event serve me? First, you have to have an awareness of what your highest values are. So I've created the overview method so that people can actually do a self-healing tool that helps them heal. And so the reason why I'm sharing this Periscope with you is me helping me. Overview is the most effective tool for healing. Dark passenger draws people in situations that force you to get real. They may seem negative to you, absolutely. What if you don't know what your traumatic events are? They always, everybody says, I don't remember, but doing a session or coming to the workshop, we go in and show you. We sit there in those feelings of abandonment and not good enough, and you ask yourself, where did I feel these before? How can I let go? Listen, know yourself. You've been asking some great questions. How can I let go of those events? Come to an overview experience workshop. Look at the website drnima.com. Amanda, could you put up drnima.com? Go write this down right now. drnima.com. DRNIMA. Exactly. Leslie just said they will come. Even not right away, they will come. Your memories will come up. You don't remember traumatic events. Many of them you block out, but when you do the exercise, I show you how to help find that process. How do you help your child with this process? You help your child by doing the work on yourself. A 4-year-old, a 5-year-old doesn't have an ability to look at things from a different perspective. So what they're doing is your children are here to teach you just as much as you're there to teach them. So when you see them acting out in certain ways, just realize that they're here to show a mirror to your face of all the shit that you haven't resolved from your past. So by doing the work yourself, how do you avoid family members with a dark passenger? You don't avoid them because everyone's got them just like you. It's about understanding your dark passenger. So you have to first love your dark passenger. That way you can love other people's. A family dynamic is basically several dark passengers colliding. So you embrace your dark passenger. That's really what it's about. My dark passenger that does high-risk behaviors also has been responsible for me leveling up in my life, constantly looking to serve people in greater ways, because if I don't, then those high-risk behaviors show up. And so when they do, I look at it as feedback that, oh, Nima, you got to get up and serve. Do a Periscope. Reach out to a friend. Come up with a new way of serving others from an authentic place. Write a rap song. Do your art. You got to create the solution to taming the dark passenger. Everyone should serve. Absolutely. Everyone's serving in some way. As a Starbucks barista, you can serve. I'm serving people when I'm doing that. But by service, I mean holding a fair exchange. Doing something for others, working in a career that allows you to have compensation as a result. And so my dark passenger has forced me to step up and serve in a greater way and to play bigger. And so when I got my speeding ticket, I sat down and I did my license taken away. I sat down, I did an overview, and what came of it is, Nima, you're going to travel the world and help people with this method. And I stepped out, I scared myself a little bit, and that's the key thing. You got to step out of your comfort zone and follow that purpose. Family members, dark passenger. Sorry, I just lost that question there about family members, dark passenger. It is so extremely difficult to do a Periscope. When you have a million questions coming, you completely lose a train of thought. So I have to look away sometimes because all of you are bombarding with questions. Some of them are really great questions, and I wish I could answer them all. But if it's something that you want to reach out to and it's of value to you to really dig in to understand where your dark passenger comes from and learn a tool to consistently clear whatever's in your path and use the dark passenger to help elevate your game and serve others from a greater place, then contact me. We can do a free consult to see if doing the overview method on a one-on-one or Skype or coming to a workshop. Will be in Europe, Toronto, Detroit, Montreal over the next little while. If you look up drnima.com, come and join. Yes. Join the overview method discussion group and ask these questions, and I will continue the conversation. I served by helping the cop meet his quota. Absolutely, D. You got it. And so yeah, that getting my license taken away was the greatest gift because it forced me. It forces you. This is the thing about obstacles and challenge. Another question you want to ask is, what's it forcing me to do? It's forcing me to step out of my comfort zone and to serve on a greater level. Thank you, Amanda. Overview Method Discussion Group. To continue the conversation. Some really good questions on here. Essentially, the dark passenger is either going to kill you with these high-risk behaviors, or it's going to save your life and save humanity. And I want you to look at the Earth as this sphere that basically all the people's inhabitants have a dark passenger that's basically saying, serve the planet, level up, and scare yourself, or leave because we don't need you. What do you mean serve when you are under an obstacle? For example, my obstacle was I lost my driver's license. Okay? Whatever is in your way, whatever challenge, another obstacle that I had was my chiropractic associates, who when I took off on my world tour were supposed to buy the practice off of me. It didn't work out that way. They went 3 kilometers down the road and took all the patients with them. So I had to come back to the office and restart my practice. That was an obstacle that I responded by stepping up and serving in a bigger way. And I created the Ask Dr. Nima show, which the episodes are all on my website, drnima.com. Make sure you check out the Ask Dr. Nima show. Essentially what I did there, know thyself, some great questions you got. Yes, you got it. I stepped up and served on a greater level. That's what the obstacle is here to do. Most people would take a divorce, a business failure, a driver's license and whatever revoked, taken away, and then go into a tumble and a depression out of that, which is oftentimes what happens with the dark passenger. Comes out and says, you're not enough, and then see, I'm not enough, and I'm going to kill myself with high-risk behaviors. Or you can use it for good. So I stepped up my game. I hired Stephen Gardner. We created the Ask Dr. Nima show. I traveled the world, and I started doing these overview workshops, and I served people from an authentic place. So do something greater when it seems like a downer. Bingo! You're getting it, know thyself. You've been there asking some pretty good questions. Reach out to me. Let's have a chat and see if this stuff is good for you. What do you mean, oh my gosh, wow? What do you mean? What do you mean, oh my gosh, wow? Are you getting it? Did it hit you, my friend? It's an aha moment. When you have something in your way, put that freaking obstacle aside and serve at a greater level. It hit you. Boom. I'm so grateful that it hit you. Wow, that's great. I'm having a one-way conversation, sort of, with Know Thyself. Where are you from, Know Thyself? You're pretty freaking amusing today. You've been asking some good questions. Essentially, you got it. It is so worth having an overview. You'll be really amazed if you're unsure or afraid to try. Book shakalaka. Boom shakalaka. Exactly, boom shakalaka. Know Thyself has got it. He got it. Ladies and gentlemen, Know Thyself got it. When you're feeling down, when you are, laundry's done. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling in the dumps, when you're feeling like all obstacles, oh, my health is not good, all of these excuses, it's basically, it's chopping you down and basically thinking that you're not good enough, whatever. Step up. Step up and serve. Self-care Sunday, baby, laundry. Yes, I'm serving myself with the laundry or having it done. Amanda, thank you for turning it on. I appreciate that. So I am from Vancouver, but I study East Coast of Canada. Well, I'm in Vancouver right now. East Coast of Canada. Yeah, reach out, Know Thyself. You did a great job. You got it. Share the insights. Join the Overview Method discussion group, peeps. Register for the workshops. We only have 15 to 20 people max, and we have to cut it off. Who is the relationship doctor? I'd like to know who that is. Who is the relationship? What's your name, relationship doctor? You've been asking some good questions there, making some good commentary. It's great having you guys here. Is that George? Oh, Jorge Gianu. The relationship doctor. Oh my God, I love it. That's George. Hey, George, what's up? Remember this place? George was staying right on this couch. This was his bed for a while. I sent you like 100,000 hearts. Oh, George, thank you, brother. It was George. I'm like, who is this relationship doctor? Ella, brother love. So I just wanted to give a shout out to my Overview tribe. Those of you who've come to the workshops and put up with my crazy dark passenger, Nick. He shows up when you guys are asking too many questions and the workshop isn't going exactly according to the way it should, according to Nick's perspective. And he shows up and goes, "Come on, motherfuckers, get moving." Nick is a dick. You know what's hilarious? I did a overview consult with a client yesterday who had one relationship after another, and her exes, both of her exes' names were Nick. Oh my God, perfect. She picks me as her overview, session, and Nick came out. He was in full force to help her love the crap out of her ex-boyfriends who she was having major challenge with. So this is a really cool tool to help you love the parts of your life that you are resenting so that you don't keep running into them and whispering this, "I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough." If you don't deal with that unworthiness, you will keep running into it, and it will either make the greatest version of you happen if you embrace your dark passenger, or it will kill you. So that's what it's here for. So tap that if that has been anything useful. How do I let go of grudges or people or past experiences? Oh, that's the question there, know yourself. How do you let go of grudges? Just by watching the show Frozen. If you just watch Frozen and you just watch Let It Go, Let It Go. If you just keep watching that, then oh, thanks George. If you just keep watching Frozen, then you're eventually going to let it go. No, it's just not true. It's not going to work. How do I let it go? That's the question that I wanted to answer. I created the overview method to teach you how to systematically not just forgive, but embrace. The highest form of forgiveness is the authentic recognition that everything served you and there is nothing to forgive. So how do you let it go? By learning and mastering the skill of seeing how what was in your way was on the way. By asking, how did it serve? How do we sign up for the workshop? Go to drnima.com. Get registered right away somewhere around the world. We're in Barcelona in in February. We're in Montreal in March. April in Toronto. May in Detroit. We're going to be in Ireland in the summer. It's going to be crazy. You can't miss out on this. There's nothing to forgive. Exactly. How do you let go of the past? By getting yourself to the point where you realize that the highest form of forgiveness is the authentic recognition that everything served you and there is nothing to forgive. And so by watching Frozen, let it go, just let it go. By reading social media memes that say let it go, then you'll be able to let it go. Bullshit, it's not going to work. I've tried it. I'm working on teaching and mastering this method to help. I need April to get here already. Well, come to Barcelona. Come to Barcelona. Come on, the beautiful. So basically, learning how to love and embrace rather than let it go. Instead of learning to let go, it's wiser to learn to let love in. So I signed learning how to forgive. I smiled. Yeah, exactly. Can't afford it. Well, I strongly recommend that you make it a priority and eventually get there, because the first workshop that I did, I couldn't afford either. But you can't afford not to learn this. Are you coming to the U.S.? Yes. I'll be in Detroit, Toledo in, I believe it's April or May. It'll be in May. So yes, when it's important enough for you, you'll find the money. Chantel, great example. Chantel couldn't afford it last month, and she worked overtime, whatever, and you came to the workshop last weekend, and man, you cleared your shit, and can you afford not to do it? Hello, Istanbul. Can't afford it is high-risk behavior. Oh, brilliant. When that dark passenger tells you, I can't afford it, that is high-risk behavior. I'm here to tell you congruently. I can say it without even fear of sounding like I'm after everybody's money, because seriously, you can't afford not to learn this. I'm not trying to be cocky, although the dark passenger is quite cocky. Nick is quite cocky. I'm saying it as a servant here. We can make it work. I've had people we come up with strategies to make it work for you, because you can't live another year of your life without having this awareness to be able to transform the way that you see things as in the way to on the way. So Moesha said, I can't afford it. Yes, Megan couldn't afford it either. And then now look at her. You have, leaps and bounds progress. But Moesha is still there. It's just now you're learning how to dance with that bitch. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Anyway, that's so funny. I love you guys. I got to say, those of you who followed me, asked questions, challenged me, told me you hated my guts, 60-hour weeks for 2 months to pay for your overview, selling stuff for eBay. Absolutely, get your butt to the workshop. You're going to hear me rap. We hang out together. We eat together. It is an incredible experience. Those of you, awesome. Those of you who have been to the overview experience or done a one-on-one, let them know what your experience has been. Join the overview method discussion group. Continue the conversation. Ask some questions. And I'm coming to Montreal. Oh yeah, come join us in Montreal. George is our great host, full of philotimo. Yes, watch the videos on the Dr. Nima page. Stay engaged. Join the conversation. Fill out the request to have a conversation, and then let's see if we can help you in any way. Shit sandwich with a side of enlightenment. Absolutely. Come to Alberta. Come to Miami. Oh, yeah, that's right. We're going to be in Miami. Bienvenidos a Miami. Anyway, any other questions on this beautiful Self-Care Sunday, which I'm about to go visit my beautiful niece and nephew? Any other questions? Was this useful? Tap that screen if you found it useful. Or if you found my dark passenger a little unbearable, tap that screen as well. Tap that screen if you love your dark passenger and you hate mine, mofos. Sunday fun day. Come on, peeps. Give me some love. Give me some love. And then share this with people on the replay. And I look forward to, yes, the Valentine's webinar. Make sure you sign up. We're going to have a Valentine's webinar special that's talking about the stress of the unmet expectations of Valentine's Day. It's pretty cool. So I look forward to connecting with you guys, and I look forward to the next scope on Valentine's. It'll be on the Saturday before Valentine's. So it's Saturday the 13th. So it's going to be a good one. How to manage the unmet expectations of Valentine's Day. I should have a boyfriend. My man should be more romantic. We should have this. How to clear that BS and really embrace unconditional love. It'll be a good one. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Thank you for spending Sunday with me. My cousin is also a chiropractor in Vancouver. Who's your cousin? Who's your cousin? Know yourself. Know yourself. Who's your cousin? Valentine's Day is Singles Awareness Day. Absolutely. Rami. I know Gazooey. Yeah, I know Rami Gazooey. I know that guy. Tell him Nima says hi. I know exactly who your cousin is. We know each other quite well. So, peace out, and I hope you had a good scope there. Tap that screen, and I look forward to seeing you on my following Periscopes at the webinar, at a one-on-one session, or at a workshop where we be dancing together. Peace out.